content. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Kayla Stewart. Kayla is the Assistant Theater Director at Temple High School. She is a graduate from the University of Mary Hardin-Baylor, and you are currently working on your master's degree in theater from the University of Houston. Tell us about that, and how has that been, especially since you've had to do most of it during COVID?
Yes. Okay, so Natasha and I had talked about me getting my master's for a while, and it was like thrown around, and so we got shut down due to COVID in March. So I'm sitting at home with nothing to do, and I decide to apply for a master's program. And so like early April, I decided to apply to the University of Houston to get my master's in theater, and I got accepted. And so all of last summer was virtual, and then we were supposed to have an internship in New York last summer. And so we ended up having our internship with the Alley Theater in Houston, and that was virtual as well. And so then this summer we get to go to Houston, so I'm really excited to finally get to be there and to be in person. And then we're also doing our internship is virtual again. And it's with the Lincoln Center in New York.
In New York.
Yes.
That's so exciting.
I know. I'm so excited.
I wish you could be there in person, but you know.
I know. And it's been such a great experience. It's kind of, last summer was such a whirlwind of everything, and having to be virtual and sit in front of a screen for 8 to 10 hours a day, and then try to do homework and try to do it all at my dining room table. But I'm very thankful for the opportunity, and regardless of whether it's virtual or during COVID, I think it's been such an incredible experience. I have amazing professors, an amazing cohort of people, and so I'm learning so much. And we do portfolios throughout the year, and so we do work through the year, and then our classes that we take are during the summer. So it's been a great experience overall, and I'm excited to finally get to go meet these people that I've seen over a screen for a year now. Yeah.
And then you work with Natasha Tolson at Temple High School.
Yes.
So how has that been working with her? And is she like a mentor to you?
So Natasha she's the head director at Temple High School. I did my student teaching with her when I was in college. So Natasha is my mentor, my best friend, a second mother to me, the person that I spend more time with probably than anyone. I see her more than I see my own family. And so we have a very, very special relationship, and I couldn't ask to be in a better place.
Right.
I mean, we have an incredible theater department that is run like a university program. I mean, we are very, very successful, and I've learned so much in the time that I've been there, and so I really couldn't ask to be in a better place. I'm very fortunate. Talk
about, so UIL and the competitions. So explain that to me and also some of our viewers that might not know what that is. Yeah, so UIL One Act Play is a contest where you present a 40-minute or under 40-minute production of a script. And so you cut it to be under 40 minutes, and then you compete with it. So we compete against the same people that football does. It's dictated by UIL. We will go to district by district, area, region, and then state, knock on wood, as my kids say. And so this year we were fortunate enough to go to state. Nice.
And that was my third state appearance, so that was really fun. And we got shut down last year. And we only competed at 2 levels, and so it was a little surreal this year to even be there, to make it, but also just to know that our kids are there. None of our kids got sick. Our kids are healthy. They did amazing, and so it was a really great experience to bring our kids to state again.
I want to talk about a show that also we worked together on, because I was helping with hair and makeup, and it's Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. So you played Maggie. How would you describe Maggie, her character?
Oh my goodness. So first of all, Maggie was my dream role. So I was so excited when TCT said they were doing Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. Maggie's character is very complicated, very complex. I had read the script, I had seen the film, but I think until you're in that role, you can explain it, and you learn so much through the rehearsal process and through being that character. Such an amazing show. I felt so grateful to be, I felt like we had the dream cast. Like we had so many incredible people working on that show, on stage, behind the scenes, just incredible people all around. It was such a great cast. But that was probably the most challenging show I had done. So for the people that did see it, like the first 30 minutes was just me talking.
Right.
And so memorizing all of that was a challenge, as well as portraying that character, and you want to do it justice. And I think I love the playwright Tennessee Williams and all of his work, and that's just one of my favorites. And so really trying to dig deep and do that character justice was probably the most challenging thing about that.
How did Maggie feel about, and I can't remember the character's name, forgive me, but Haley Duggar played your sister-in-law, correct? And she did a phenomenal job playing that character. But what was those two characters, their issues, and was there an underlying thing? And because you guys played so well together, and you were so like not nice to one another at some point. So tell us. How is that?
First of all, Haley is great. I absolutely love her. I have such a fun time working with her. But Maggie and Mae did not like each other for multiple reasons. I think Maggie, although she hated the no-neck monsters, I think that she was secretly a little jealous that she didn't have any kids of her own. And so I think she resented Mae a little bit for that, as well as like they were the perfect little family, and her and Brick didn't have any kids, and her husband was struggling with alcoholism, and so I think she resented Mae a little bit in that fact, as well as they're there at their parents' house, and she's vying for that affection and that attention from Big Daddy and Big Mama and everyone else, and so Maggie wants to be the star of the show.
Right.
And she did not like when Mae stood in her way. So that was a really fun dynamic. That was so fun.
It was a fun dynamic. Yeah. So do you have any fun memories or stories or things that might have happened backstage that you can tell us about you remember about that show?
I think my favorite part of that show were the no-neck monsters, were the kids. And every time backstage, all of the kids would come in the dressing room.
Yes.
And I would just, anytime I was off stage, it was like me and all the kids and Tanya in the dressing room.
Right.
And they were so fun, and they were such talented children. And they would just like come and like sit on my lap, and we would take pictures and like eat popcorn back there, even though we're not supposed to eat in costume.
Right.
But
we were trying to clean up popcorn every night from the floor.
And that was probably my fault for giving it to them.
Yeah. Oh no, I sneak popcorn back there because that's my favorite thing.
Yeah, every night all of the no-neck monsters and I would eat popcorn.
You also played Vera Thorn in And Then There Were None. Tell us about that show and what was your favorite part?
I think one of the best parts of that show is we had a lot of students, of Temple High School students that worked on that show. We had the stage manager the assistant stage manager was from Temple High School. The props, the people that were helping with the set, hair and makeup, like there were so many of our kids that got to help with that. And I think there's something very special about getting to work with your kids in a different capacity.
Right.
And we were at school with them all day, and then we come here, and it's just such a different environment, and it's so fun to get to work with your kids and them, be on stage with you or see you on stage or get to, put your hair and makeup together.
Yeah.
And so that was really, really fun to get to work with our kids in that capacity. And it was also a great show and really, really fun
I came to watch that show. There were the little
Indians.
Yes, on the mantle.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, like, one's missing.
Yes.
And then as the show's, I'm like, I could never figure out how they got one off of there, like, during the scene.
It took some practice.
It was
took
flawless.
Practice. Yes.
Because I never could even figure it out. It was amazing. And I loved that show. Also, what was your favorite part about that show?
Oh, I do have an oops story from that show.
Okay.
So I had this crazy quick change between these scenes, and I would run off stage left, and Tanya would be like waiting for me to do my quick change. And so the lights go dark and I am running and I'm in heels. And so I'm running and my heel breaks. And I just hit the ground. And Tanya opens the door and I'm crawling out of the door. My knees are bleeding. Like I'm pretty sure I still have scars from it. My knees are bleeding and I'm like crawling back there and Tanya's like trying to wipe blood and like change me, and I like went back out, and that was a crazy story.
That was a crazy story.
that was a little crazy.
Things happen backstage. Sometimes it's way more chaotic.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a whole other production.
Yeah.
A comedy production backstage than what's happening on stage.
Oh yeah, if people only knew. Yeah,
we have so much fun backstage. So tell us, what's the process of doing lighting design?
So, and it's interesting because this space is so different from my space at the high school. Mm-hmm. And so my first few times here, it was, I have to figure out, okay, how am I going to light this because it's so different. We just have a proscenium. This being 3/4 space, it's very different. And sometimes it's just trial and error and trying to figure out, what works the best, what looks the best, where do I hang things from. And sometimes, we'll bring things from the high school and bring them here to hang and to work with. And another great part about doing lighting design here is I've brought several of my students over here.
Yes.
And some of my students have run the boards in the past. And I teach a lighting class at Temple High School, and so sometimes I'll bring my kids over, and they came and helped me like hang everything for next to normal and helped me program things. I've had a student who ran the microphones and the sound and ran the light board, and so that's a great opportunity for them to be in a different space, in a different venue, and get to learn the things that they've learned about lighting at the high school and then move them over into this space.
I don't think that a lot of our viewers and our patrons realize like how many cues there is in a show. How many could there be? And tell us, what is a cue and how does that work for each, for each spot?
Yeah.
What is a cue, and so we can understand how intricate doing a lighting design is.
Yeah, most people don't realize how much time it takes to do that work. The great part about lighting design is that sometimes you don't want the audience to even notice it.
Right.
And so there are a lot of things that they don't notice, and transitions and colors that happen that they don't even see, and then they're like, oh, where did that come from? So that's, sometimes they don't understand how many cues go into a show. I think Next to Normal probably had like over 200, maybe 300 lighting cues.
Yeah.
And that was definitely, it's like a rock show, and so it was real flashy and moving lights. And so each cue, a lighting cue would be a specific look. And so if whatever color you have on the cyc, whatever color you have on the stage, all of the different lighting areas that you have up where the moving lights are pointed. And then the next cue, the moving lights might be slightly pointed this way. And so you have to go in and create each individual cue and record it and like program it into the board. So then whoever's running the board can then just press go, and it will move you from each look to the next.
It's very intricate.
It really is. It really is. And actually coming into Temple High School, I had no technical experience.
Oh, wow.
All of my work was, in high school and on the stage, and I really had no concept of what that took. And so I think when I got hired, I knew like how to turn the light board on and how to hang a light, and that was about it. And so Natasha brought in people to help me and people to teach me, and you figure it out and you keep learning and you keep doing, and there's nothing you can't teach yourself.
Right.
And so then coming here and into the Temple Civic Theater space was even more fun because I got to keep learning.
So not only did you design lighting, but you also did choreography.
I did.
So do you have a process on how you design a choreography?
So I think it's important to do a lot of research. And so I watch all kinds of videos, as many videos as I can find of what did the original production look like? What are other people doing? And you never want to take something that you see and copy it, right? But you can get inspiration from things.
Right.
And so I like to get as much inspiration as possible and work through that. I took dance for 13 years of my life, and so that's something that's it was like my first love, something that's very near and dear to me, and I do all the choreography at the high school as well. And so it just sort of comes to me, and I had amazing kids in that show. And I work with high school kids, right? And so getting to work with some of the little ones and the younger ones was really fun. That was a great experience to get to work with the little ones.
I thank you so much, Kayla, for being here today at Backstage and at TCT.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you for joining us at Backstage at TCT. Be sure to find and follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and bookmark our website so you can learn more about upcoming productions and also how you can volunteer and be a part of Temple Civic Theater.